Warning: the following content contains language that may be inappropriate for younger viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Hey, what's up? This is Phil Demmel. You're tuned in to Let's Get Heavy, where the riffs are loud and nothing gets held back. So let's get heavy.
Phil, welcome to the Let's Get Heavy podcast, where we like to highlight bands, artists, and just try and spread a little bit of positivity throughout the world of metal. My name is Stevie, and it is awesome to have you join our show this evening. Although it's this morning for you.
Almost. Yeah. No, thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thank you so much for giving up some of your free time. Now, you've been in the thick of the Bay Area thrash scene since it was in its garage days, flyers. When you look around in today's music scene, what still feels the same, and what do you miss most from those early days?
Man, what do I miss most? I miss my youth, mostly.
Right there with you, mate. Right there with you.
Being able to go to 3 and 4 shows a week, and still get up at the crack of dawn and go to work the next day, so I don't miss working in that sense. But no, I miss the scene in the Bay Area, because we were really fortunate to be able to have such a vibrant and incredible community of metal at that time, where you could go see quality bands, 7 nights a week. There were shows. You could go and there'd be a couple hundred people each night at these shows that just wanted to be part of this. And watching everybody grow up, watching Metallica in front of 50 people, watching, Slayer do their first North American, show with full makeup and the whole deal, and so just watching the landscape grow in that sense, and being, not there at the watching it kind of happen, but being able to catch on some of the coattails and being, kind of the last wave to get through it. So I think that was the prime spot to be, because you got to see the beginning, but you also got to enjoy playing it too at a young age.
Obviously, being in the music scene for quite some time, how have you seen the music scene change from the early days to now? Because we've got the likes of AI being used, which I feel a lot of people are using just to make a quick bit of coin on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music. What's your thoughts on AI being used these days?
I enjoy some of the art, because it's just cool to look at. I can detach from my creative sense with that, where it's being created. I don't know. The music side of it, I can appreciate it. I know that Monty Pittman, I just did a rock and roll fantasy camp with him. So I spent, a couple of weeks with him, and he fucking loves it, man. So he was just like, he's driving it home, Monty is, if you haven't met Matt, he's very, there's a lot of conviction in what he does. He's like, with music theory, he's like trying to hammer me with music theory. He's like, bro, circle of fist, bro, but with the AI, he's all about it, man. And he's trying, and he would make up, okay, Phil is, in the back of the car and he's riding bitch or something like that. And then a whole song comes out with this, stupid lyrics that I think kind of takes away from that whole organic coming up with something, even if you're kind of like so influenced by AC/DC or some other band, that it's still coming from you, from the human form. So I don't like that people are selling, these songs, and I don't really know enough about that end of it. But if that's what's happening, I think I'm not okay with that, and that's not something that I would buy or subscribe to in that sense. But
yeah, so we do a weekly show over on Twitch, kind of like a radio show, And you'd be surprised of how many come along and trying to pass off their own music as AI, and saying that they've wrote
That's
every
just shitty, man.
every part of that. That's the point where I think people draw the line. That's where people's getting annoyed, and then that going out there actively trying to make a quick buck or two on this.
Yeah, what the fuck? That's horrible.
Shady, isn't it? Proper shady.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm a big golfer. And golf is the gentleman's sport, and it's like it's built on integrity and honesty. It's like you don't cheat, you don't nudge your ball, and if you do, you just call it or whatever. But it's like for somebody to do that seems really, really fucking shady.
Disingenuous, and you can tell it a mile off as well sometimes
Yeah,
with how with depending on the software that they use, of course. There's so many out there; it's hard to keep track of them. But yeah, it's
amazing, man.
hopefully.
What going to be like in the next 5 years, 10 years? Where's music going to be? Because this is just exponentially just going to steamroll, and
This is it. Couldn't agree
snowball.
more. Where
Oh,
is music as a whole, not just metal, music as a whole, where would it be, especially with the use of AI? And
oh,
is our record labels gonna tailor to it as well so they can get those
that's
quick?
it's just like, well, the labels don't need the artists anymore. If they
This is it.
find, oh my God, it's yeah. So
Who gets paid?
people will always, hopefully, people are fucking dumb and people are fucking horrible. So maybe they won't. So you just gotta hope for,
Well,
humanity.
fingers crossed for humanity. Fingers crossed. But I guess time will tell, won't we? I hope personally it doesn't get to that stage where it's used even by like your mainstream artists in the day. I hope it's not getting to that levels. So we'll see how it goes in the next 5 to 10 years. But
Yeah.
going sticking on track. If we met 17-year-old Phil right now playing those early Vio-lence riffs, what would he think of who you are today?
I think he'd be shocked. I think he would be shocked at a lot of the things that have been accomplished. Um, playing with his heroes, with his idols, some of the biggest stages and all over the world, and some of the biggest bands. And I think he would. There's no way that he would expect this little, fun little hobby that he was doing, um, to to see the roster of the bands and the people that I have played with and the stages that I played. I think that he would be in awe.
And on that, what you've just mentioned there, you've played with an amazing accolade of bands over the years. You're part of Kerry King's solo project. You've done Slayer shows as well. I believe you may have done stints with Overkill,
Mm-hmm.
um, Lamb of God. I saw you with Lamb of God at Bloodstock Festival in the
Oh,
UK. I didn't even know you were there, and you just walk out on stage. I was like, "Whoa, what's going on? Phil's here." But if I recall, I think the same year you were with Vio-lence as well.
same,
So
same day.
yeah, so so it worked out pretty
Played,
well for that.
played in Testament. Did
Testament, the
did a
list
run
goes.
with did a little run with not a band called Non-Point.
Yep, yeah.
Uh,
I just saw them live 2 weeks
the
ago.
the Bloodstock year that Devin headlined. Um, I was supposed to play with him at that, but
Mhm.
I got COVID. So yeah, that and a lot of the jams that I've done with, recently with Billy Sheehan and Tommy Aldridge and Kenny Aronoff, and I've jammed with Taylor Hawkins and Dave Grohl and Ace Frehley and fuck, the
Rest in
list goes
peace to
on,
Ace,
man.
who's just recently passed away.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's
So
mad times, man. And we can't obviously forget your time in Machine Head, which is just absolutely amazing. Which is when I first personally discovered you as a musician, when you
right
were
on.
in with Machine Head, on
Mhm.
through that Ashes and Empires album, absolutely amazing.
Yes.
But what what's the secret being everyone's first call when they need a guitar player?
I, hmm, I don't know if I'm the first call. Maybe in some cases, but I am on a list for a bunch of bands and a bunch of gigs that I got the call from. I either the person involved was able to make the show. So there's been half dozen instances of fucking major bands to where it's like I was almost getting a ticket and almost on my way there, still learning the set, on my wall here, learning the set and almost ready to go that it didn't happen. But it's a special kind of, coming out of Machine Head, I didn't really know what was going to happen. It was this huge leap of faith for me to just bet on myself and, leave a great gig, an amazing gig, but knowing that it was time to go and having me and the wife had bought a bar. We had a business that was a great business so it wasn't totally reliant on having to go out, hey, we're going to be scraping pennies to pay the rent, or to pay the mortgage. So I had this fallback. But not knowing what my worth was going to be in the industry and having that, less than 24 hours, I'm going my way out to play with Slayer, wasn't unemployed 24 hours and I was already going out to play with one of the biggest metal bands in the world, and so that was, I think that maybe Slayer saved my musical career in my own mind, but then everything kind of piggybacked off of that. The Vio-lence thing came back and gave me all this confidence in my playing, and I really focused a lot on my technique and maybe my times in Machine Head. I would say that maybe the downfall for me was just kind of complacency and the fact that we were just since 2013. So I spent 5 years just playing, and I love the evening withs, and I thought that was great. But you're only seeing the same 11 guys every day for that amount of time. There's no opening bands, no opening crew, no other, we're not doing festivals. So you're in this bubble. And I think that I got complacent, and that was, unfortunate, but it did happen. And my playing probably got sloppy and kind of lazy. And so it kind of took me from being, hey, you're not in your bubble anymore. You need to go out and, play with these other guys and step up. So I think that caused me to really focus on my playing. And over the course of the past, it's been 7 years now, playing the best guitar that I've ever played, and open all these different avenues, playing with Corey Glover on, a shiprock boat, or playing, with Geezer Butler and playing with all these different, icons. It makes you really step up. So I think that, leaving Machine Head was really a kick in the ass that I needed, playing wise. And I don't think I've ever said this, but I think I probably need to apologize for, letting myself get to that complacency to where it was affecting how I was playing in the band. So, which probably led to some strife between, Rob and I. And so I'll take ownership in that part that, maybe I wasn't holding up my end in that sense.
Wow. It takes a
Long sentence.
a lot to apologize, mate. So yeah, big respect, big love to you for that. That's absolutely amazing. But I sticking on with Vio-lence, I was over the moon to hear when Vio-lence was coming back and going to be playing Bloodstock, because I'm a big Thrash fan, and there was these bands that I thought I would never get to see in my lifetime, Sacred Reich being one of them, Vio-lence, yourselves, Overkill, and Bloodstock were just on. It's like Bloodstock was like living in my mind and knew I wanted to see these bands. I'd go to Bloodstock year in, year out. I had Sacred Reich 1 year, and then the following year I had Vio-lence. So honestly, to see Vio-lence live was absolutely amazing for me. So
That was
couldn't
a
be
cool
happier.
lineup with Bobby Gustafson playing. Perry was in the band. Christian on bass. So that was a fun lineup. I like that.
It was a tasty, tasty weekend, and I couldn't believe it. I'm seeing Vio-lence right now. I couldn't believe it. Absolutely
Yeah,
sick, man. But
awesome.
on your career, you've had an amazing career, as we've already touched on, and Machine Head's Through the Ashes of Empires basically relaunched the whole band, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And you were a big part of that creative reboot. Do you remember that moment when you realized, okay, this lineup is epic and it works?
When I joined the band, I had uh, I was going through a divorce, and I hadn't done anything really substantial music wise. So this was, I filled in for Machine Head in 2002, and then that was when we noticed that there was a connection there, that there was this chemistry that really fucking worked. Live playing, me and Rob playing guitar together, it was a real connection, and so that carried over. I was going through a divorce, and so when I finalized, hey, I'm getting divorced, I'm joining the band, you know, that's when I think they had pretty much the record 75% written. So they had already had, Imperium was pretty much done, and they had the core of that record kind of done. I contributed a couple of things. In the Presence of My Enemies was a song that I had with my previous band, Torque. So most of that song was written. I brought in some ideas for Seasons Wither, which would come out on the U.S. release. So I think that the connection was made in that little 2-week trip that I did with them in 2002. We played in London. We played a 10-ton Hammer show there, and so going into Ashes. Go
You
ahead.
must have been going. You must have been going through a wave of emotions. You're dealing with that rough patch with the divorce, but at the same time, you're joining Machine Head as well. Did you feel that was a healthy distraction joining Machine Head, or?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I had, the marriage was 2 years, too long. And, joining the band, I don't know, I'd always, when Rob left Vio-lence to start Machine Head, I was a fan from the get. I went to all the shows. I loved the music. I loved the tunes. I was always a fan. And even, Burning Red, people didn't like, I loved the Burning Red. I thought that record was fucking great. Wasn't a big Supercharger fan, but at that point, that was, the band that I wanted to be in, and I would write riffs for my band Torque, but it's like I'd have to scrap them because they sounded too much like Machine Head. And so I think joining that band was just this meant to be type situation. I found myself writing riffs that for the band that's like, oh, I can write these riffs now, that sound like Machine because I'm in the band, is really, and I didn't know that any of the behind the scenes stuff about the label, like they were leaving Roadrunner and we might be back on Roadrunner. I was just like, man, I don't care, you guys will figure out the business in, and I was never really involved that much in the business anyways. But, you guys will sort that stuff out. I didn't know that they were at their lowest point, or like, we can't get signed right now. And, I saw the DVD and I'm all, oh, yeah, I guess things were pretty fucking grim at that time.
I've still got that DVD to this date. I'll sometimes give it a little spin from time to time, because I love that period of
So
Machine Head.
I think maybe this balance of like this fresh, this is going to be great, and having this maybe a little dichotomy with what was happening at that point. So I was super stoked to be back in the business after not being for a little bit. And so maybe
Because if I remember, it was Roadrunner UK that they signed to. Is that correct?
yeah, they eventually came back with Roadrunner UK,
And then
and not enough.
obviously then.
And so they came around and we did a American release, I think maybe the following year, 2004, with Seasons Wither on it.
And then through the years of Machine Head, you released some absolute killer albums. Peak being, in my opinion, the Blackening, which was just an absolute sick album to this day. Still one of my regular spins. Halo is just chef's kiss in my opinion.
Yeah.
But after leaving, obviously Machine Head, was there a moment you thought maybe I'll step away just for a bit, or did you always know that you were going to just keep grinding in some form?
No, I think that I had like material that I wanted to record and was going to go that route. But then the Slayer thing happened, and then Sean from Vio-lence had hit me up and was asking about doing shows and maybe getting Vio-lence back together. So I knew I was still, my wife, Marta, plays in a band called Bleeding Through. And so we've got, the studio here, we've got drum sets and keyboards, and, we're musical family. So we knew we were going to do music in some sense, and I was going to try to, I don't want to start a band from scratch. I'm 59 years old, just that's not going to happen
Mate,
right now.
you look absolutely brilliant for 59. I am
Man.
39 and I've got more grey hair than you.
Oh, I take care of that. I'm not fooling anybody that I dye my beard. That's not a huge secret.
Oh, you shouldn't have said anything there, mate. You could have fooled everybody.
Keep it real. Got to keep it real, man. But I knew that I was going to do something musically. And when Sean brought up the Vio-lence thing, Sean he went through pretty bad liver disease, and so I didn't think he was going to be in any shape to do something like that. So I was kind of shocked when he asked me to do that. But we got the band back together and did a couple of shows it was like 1985 Ruthie's Inn all over again. These Vio-lence reunion shows, the second reunion, it was like back in the 80s, everybody stage diving, messing up the equipment on stage. And, it was some of the most fun shows and crazy shows that we've done. We played with Sacred Reich in LA, which is probably the craziest Vio-lence show ever. It was just rammed, and people, I don't know if you've seen footage of this guy's hair getting stuck in my headstock, and I pull on it, and it's just like a huge clump of hair stuck in my headstock. But some of those shows, it just spurred us to like, hey, maybe we can write some music, and we went on.
That must have been great playing with Sacred Reich to reconnect with Dave McLean again, who was drummer of Machine Head as well.
Well, that wasn't, I think that was 19, 2019. So yeah, it was pretty awesome to be back with Dave and jamming in our old bands and doing our thing, and just really enjoying ourselves.
Nice. That's brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant. And obviously you touched on playing with Slayer. Like you say, you filled in for. How do you mentally prepare walking into a situation to be with Slayer?
It was the final Machine Head show. My wife had been taking care of the bar and everything while I'm gone on this tour, and it's like, all right, I'm home, babe. I'm here to help. Tour's over. She got all fucked up at our show and was, smoking pot and in the pit and like throwing up after. It is so awesome. So I drive her home.
Get in.
The next morning, and I get the text from Kerry. Like we're just waking up the next morning, and I get a text from Kerry asking if I could be out there as soon as possible. So there was no time to think other than send me a set list right now, right now. And they're the reason why I played thrash music is Slayer, and Bay Area, Metallica, Exodus, all these bands up here. But Slayer, once I saw them that first time, I could have gone in high school a more commercial route. And because I love the hair metal and I love the, classic rock, I could have gone that route. But then Slayer tipped me in the other direction to go, and this is what I want to do. I love the energy, brought up in a Christian home, but, I am the Antichrist, Slayer I was able to look past all that imagery, and still be drawn to this. So get the call from them to be out there. And it's really what spurned this whole I learned their songs mostly on a plane ride over there, because the day after Kerry called, I picked up my equipment from Machine Head because I was getting divorced and went and got my gear. And then the next day I was on a plane, so I hadn't had a chance to pick up a guitar yet. So I was on the flight over to Germany, charting out the songs, listening, because some of them I hadn't heard before. A lot of the newer stuff I hadn't heard, and I'd never tried to play jihad before. It's not it's not Raining Blood where you can kind of get an idea. It's a hard song, man, hard riffs. Ditto Head, these hard riffs. So trying to
Was
decipher this.
Repentance a bit of a challenge?
Yeah, that one was more straightforward because the structure is pretty straightforward. Repentless was, yeah, it's got some weird turns in it, and it's still kind of, we play it with Kerry's band still. And so it kind of, you got to think about what's coming next. Does it go this way first, or then it goes this way? So, but learning those tunes on the way over, my guitars don't show up, so I'm losing a day without my guitars. It was such a full circle moment getting that first call out of this, 16 years of Machine Head, that's a long fucking time, to getting called back by the band that made you want to play heavy music in the first place. And then we're playing a show on, I think it's the 35th anniversary of Show No Mercy coming out. It's this anniversary of their record coming out. I saw them on that. This is the band, and I'm on stage with them now. It was life affirming. It was career affirming moment for me, especially from that band.
I know you've talked about this briefly on the Gaza podcast. I am a fan. I do watch Gaza's podcast. He is an absolute top man. What Slayer song pushed your guitar playing the furthest?
Chemical Warfare is a song. It's my favorite Slayer song. So it helps that I know the structure of the parts, but it's really fast. Technique's got to be pretty quick. There's some puzzling, some weird phrasing in it, and you got to be ready for what's coming next, because it doesn't all go in a certain order. The song structure, there's probably 15 different riffs in this song, and they're all pretty difficult to play correctly. So the beginning in itself, and you got to lock in with Kerry when, so I think Chemical Warfare is the song that it, pushed me the most.
And then obviously you got the call to join Kerry King on his solo tour as well. Obviously you must have what's the word I'm looking for? He must have saw something in you on those Slayer shows. This is the man that I want on these tours for my solo project. What was going through your mind on that point?
Kerry had me on the line for a little bit. Like, he wasn't committing because he didn't know what he was going to do. There was talk of him, maybe doing something with Anselmo, and wasn't quite sure the direction was going to have. I mean, the quarantine hit, so it was like, that's what I wanted to do. My post Machine Head was to do whatever was going to happen next with Kerry, because of a lot of things. I think that my time spent in Slayer, not just my playing, because I think that had a lot to do with it, but also just me hanging with him, and getting along with the band. I think that plays even, this point in Kerry's, he's even said it himself. It's just like he wants to be around people that he likes to hang out with. He wants to spend this time, with people of that sense. So I think that the fact that we got along and played a huge part in it. And I think that plays a lot in me jamming with Lamb of God, and jamming with, the Testament guys that I've known. But the Lamb of God situation, I played bass for them too. It was just, I think that it was a matter that I fit in with them in their company, in their machine, that it's just like, okay, we'll plug you into, stage right, stage left, or play bass with you too. So that's where I think that those are the values that my playing is one thing. I know I'm not the best guitar player in the world. I'm not the most shreddiest dude. So my guitar player aside, I think that it's more of a personal thing, and that's what I take more pride in, is that me as a person is somebody that, people they can rely on, that, that they value me as a person.
Couldn't agree more. What gear were you using on that Slayer tour again?
I was playing through Gary's rig. Yeah, he had the Jubilees, the Marshall Jubilee set up, like 3 heads pumping through six cabinets, or probably even more. Yeah, it's a big wall of sound. Gary's got some amazing tone, man. It was fucking cool.
Your own guitar, or were you using?
Yeah, I played my guitar. I played
Yeah.
one of Gary's because it was in I only brought 2 guitars and they had 3 different tunings. So I
And
played one of.
was that the King V? Was it?
Yeah, I
What
brought the
you?
King. Brought my Randy tribute one. Randy's birthday today. God bless you, Randy Rhodes. Happy birthday. And I played. Gary's got a Rammstein. Who's the guy from Rammstein? His signature
Oh,
is in drop B. So
right.
that was paybacks in drop B. So I played that. I played payback in that song on that
Nice.
guitar.
Nice. And on the topic of your gear, the Demolition King it's an iconic Jackson model. Now, what did you want in a signature guitar to say about you, not just your sound?
Oh man, I was just lucky to get free guitars from that company. I I had been a Jackson endorser since the late '80s, and there was when I came back with Machine Head in 2003, there was a guy there, Brian McDonald, who was a big Vio-lence fan, and he's a big Phillies fan, American baseball team, and so was I. So he brought me in and really pushed for me to get a signature. And Brian McDonald, I owe my Jackson soul to, for going to bat for me, and he brought my name in as a signature artist. And the way he tells us, like, who's this Phil Demmel guy that we're giving a signature to, maybe. And it went on and did really well. So people, sold really well, and he was able to stick that in some faces. And but God bless you, Brian McDonald. Thank you for bringing me on.
Nice. And I do love your polka dot Randy Rhoads tribute guitar. That is a beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful instrument.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I just took the King V and I put some little cutouts in it because there weren't a lot of guitars that were doing that at the time. And we were out with Metallica in 2009. Did a lot of touring with Metallica in 2009 on the Death Magnetic tour. And I had Brian helped. I said I want to do like a couple of tribute guitars. My 2 favorite guitar players are Michael Schenker and Randy Rhoads. So we did the polka dot with a trem on it, with the Floyd on it, and then we did the Michael Schenker with a 3-3. Oh, it's right here actually. So it's got the 3-3 headstock on it,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Michael Schenker split.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, and on the back, so I was able to jam with Michael Schenker. I jammed Doctor with him, and he signed the back of it as he was playing. And I had Rudy sign it too. So, but this is a fixed bridge, so I brought those out, and I think that really opened a lot of eyes to the guitar. So Randy's my guy, and much love for
You must have had a grin from ear to ear when playing with Michael Schenker.
Yeah, I got it on video. It's on my YouTube channel. So it was,
Really? I'll have to check it out after this.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you get to see me jam with him, and then you get to see him sign the guitar and the whole deal. It's fucking.
That's
Pretty
absolutely
awesome.
brilliant.
Done some crazy things, man. Done some crazy things.
That's it. Couldn't agree more. He is a tremendous guitar player. Couldn't agree more.
Yep.
Um, if someone, right, little side question, if someone stole your entire rig 5 minutes before a show, what's the absolute minimum setup you could play a killer gig with?
Well, it depends on what band, but I could do, I love the EVH3 heads. I could go straight into one of those. Um, can you see them? I think I got them right over. There you go. So any of these guys, just give me a head, or I've got the quad cortex that I play through, and that you could go direct in. That's just a little guy. You could go right into the PA. So that's how I do I do so many little jammy things where I just show up with my little box. I put it down, they put it right to the PA, and off we go. Got my whole rig there.
Sweet. And when you're playing live, how much are you thinking about precision versus raw energy?
Live,
Mm.
I think that there's a good mix of that because you want to put on a show, and I feel the music. I've always tried to. You're there to watch a show, so I try to engage, people and other musicians that I'm jamming with to get them involved too, and so I say it's a good mix. I miss some notes live. That's no secret. But you want to hit the important ones, and because there's some
I do
point
have
and there's some and there's some.
I do have a core memory of your live playing, and it was 2008. You played my hometown of Newcastle upon Tyne, and I wasn't
Oh,
expecting. You came out in a Newcastle United shirt. I was I was absolutely, but it was I believe it was Children of Bodom, yourselves, and Slipknot. That
oh,
was a
okay,
that
yeah,
was a
all right.
sick show, and like
Fun
I
that you,
say, you came
awesome.
out in a Newcastle United top. If you can remember it, what spurred that moment? And do you even still have that shirt?
Got the jersey because somebody gave it to me, and it has. Um, my father died actually on this day 18 years ago,
Oh wow.
um, and his lucky number was 33. So somebody made me a Demmel jersey, Newcastle 33, and so I wore it. I think it's Faza, maybe Faza gave me that. Yeah, pretty fun.
That
I
was
don't
me
care. My first time ever in London, I wore a Newcastle jersey in London.
in London.
Yes.
How did that go down?
I got some chirps because I
I
wasn't
can
even in the band.
imagine
Nobody even
you,
knew who I was really. So yeah, I got some chirps. It was fine.
especially if it depends on what part of London you're in. I think
Yeah.
it's North London for the Arsenal fans. Yeah, we've got a
Uh,
little bit of it. No, it would have been funny. At least it wasn't a Sunderland shirt. That's the main thing. Sunderland's our main rivals in Newcastle. So
so I have a buddy, John Watson. He's a machine head photographer, and that's his team. And
ooh,
I have a Sutherland jersey with my name and the 33 on the back of it too.
boo, down the
Yes.
Mackhams.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all good banter at the end of the day. Oh, I've lost me train where I am there. So yeah, you came up learning guitar in the era without YouTube. Now every riff is online by lunch, basically. Do you think instant access has made guitarists better or faster these days?
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I come from the age of lifting the needle off the record and backing it up and trying to hear what they're doing on the cassette tape, pause and rewind and what's happening. So I think this age of technology and availability of all these resources, the tabs and video lessons and slowing down YouTube to where you can, it's amazing what you can do. And I'm benefiting from it now with all the, I'll play 1,000 cover tunes this year, and it's helped me to, break down those tunes.
Now, you've been in bands where friendships have been tested under pressure. What's been the biggest thing you've learned about keeping relationships healthy in a band environment?
Um, I think that, I've gone through some couples therapy with,
Mhm.
with my wife, and I think taking some of those tools and bringing them to uh, situations has helped. I statements being, communication and honesty. I think that talking your problems through, and I've learned that second draft, and second and third draft, don't send that first email, just maybe come back to it and maybe send a second draft or third draft of things you might want to say, and what's really important, and what you say. What is it actually serving? Is it serving you? Is it serving trying to solve the problem? Is it, trying, as I'm approaching 59 years old, it's like, you learn the hard way with a lot of these things. But I think that especially now, I think that I've gained the rep of asking the hard questions, the ones that, saying the things that need to be said. And, certain projects that I've been involved with over the past 7 years have been like, people waiting for me because, they'll know that I'll bring it up or something like that. But I'm too old to be messing around with, you know, not talking about things that need to be talked about. I have zero time to waste. If I'd rather just get the hard question out of the way, talk it through, can it work out, and then move on from that. So I'd say being honest and communicate.
Thank you very much for opening up. That's really appreciated. And you've open about your own anxiety and struggles over the years. How has that shaped your connection to music? Do you still consider it therapy for you, or has music become something else to you?
No, I think that music is very therapeutical. I think that it's the one just magical healing. I mean, it can be healing thing that everybody can share and everybody can maybe agree on, that I belong to this huge musical community in my town here. Bunch of friends. We get together twice a year and put on these charity shows and play cover tunes. And, not everybody's a pro, but we don't care. We just come and sing your heart out. And, and that's all that matters. There's no judging here. And um, I think that music is therapy. I think writing music is that way. I think that um, I've written a lot of stuff that helps me get things out, or I'll listen to things that help you heal or help you feel things that you might not have. So it's very
I
important.
could not have said it better myself. Very cathartic indeed. And I've always said the whole metal community, it's not just it's not just music at the end of the day. It's a way of life. Yeah, you globally, you're a massive family, in my opinion. And to have each and everybody there, knowing that everyone's going through the same struggles, and having music from yourself and so many musicians, it's a massive help to a lot of people.
For
And
sure.
on behalf of those people, I just want to say thank you for that, because you help so many people. You probably don't even realize how many people you help. So honestly, thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate
Yeah. I thank all those artists that help me do the same.
it. Exactly, man. Exactly. Oh, go moving forward. But you've played tens of thousands, and you've even played smaller shows as well. When do you feel most connected, and in what you're playing?
I love the smaller intimate shows. I love the shows without a barricade. Um, like I said, we do this. We're called the Merkins, and it's our started with all my high school buddies, and it started with 6 people, and now we do these charity shows where with over 100 performers, we play 60 songs. Everybody comes together, plays cover songs. People fly in from all over the country, sometimes from out of the country to take part in this. we do some rehearsals, and it's just all about playing, silly Bon Jovi, Journey, AC/DC, classic rock covers. And what was the question?
After all these years, you've played in front of tens of thousands of people.
So it's those shows connecting with, with not strangers, but your whole community, just singing these silly, just a small time girl, just belting out these songs that you just love, that just give you goosebumps, and being a part of that sense. We've had Dean from Journey join us. We've had, Brad Gillis from, Night Ranger comes out. So it's fun having them all feel this. It's just like, oh my God, I never want to miss this gig again, and they just keep coming and keep coming. And, but there's also moments when you're playing the festival, and there's some riffs that I wrote on the Locust that get the sing-alongs, the ones in Darkness Within. Na, 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 whoa, 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 whoa. I wrote that with my voice into, before working construction or this early morning. And I wrote that, and it transcends. You go from, doing this shitty construction job and mouthing this. You want me to play it for you?
Go for
it. Waiting to get into this job site in the morning, and you. I don't know if I can find it. Let's see. And you create this thing while you're just waiting, to do this menial job, and then it ends up. You bring it to the band. Hey, that's kind of cool. You put it into a riff, and then it gets recorded, and then it goes to, people singing along to it at the. I'm sorry for.
That's quite all right. Take your time, my friend.
Let's see. See, it's a little different, but then I come back to it.
And this was all done on a construction site, yeah?
Yes. Then it goes into something else. 2010, November 10th.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome, that.
So that's where that sing-along came from. And to hear them, they still play the song, and to hear the crowd still singing that is one of my crowning, achievements, just to have created this thing that is still getting reverberated through.
Do you think the environment of the construction site helped?
No, I think that it's like I have so many voice memos, and most musicians do this. They'll have a riff and they'll do that, because that was coming out of an entirely different riff that I had. It was just I was coming out of something into something else. But it's as I'm thinking of things, I'm just like, if the phone's right here, it's your other appendage, right? It's just like this. You're right here recording. So I don't think it was the construction side. It was just whatever gets caught in your head, because most musicians will tell you that they just come and go. You're fleeting. You just want to catch it. You want to get that fucking lightning bug in the fucking bottle and capture it. The Locust riff was like that too. Which is another.
That riff is absolutely sick, especially when it gets into the breakdown.
It's coming out of something else.
Do you share? Did you share these with Rob as well at the time?
Yeah, that's how. Well, so oh shit. So that's I'm recording. Did I lose it? I don't know. No. So yeah, that's how the riff started. Was it went to there, then I took it home and I transcribed it and I put it in our tuning, because I'm singing out of key and some notes aren't in key. So I made it made sense on the guitar. So then that's when it gets brought to the band and put into these parts.
Nice,
There
nice.
you go. That was the origin of those two riffs.
That's absolutely amazing. I'm
Yeah.
just sick how you're just doing it on a construction site as well.
What was the date? That one was
It's
a little bit later.
site foreman. No, they're not just saying, "Hey, Phil, get some work done. Stop singing."
I was the foreman.
You were the foreman.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So that was December 8th. Wow, what's today? The 6th.
It is the 6th of
Yeah, so
December,
that
mate.
was December 8th, 2010. So those two riffs were, written 15 years ago, almost to the day.
Damn, that is absolutely amazing. That absolutely sick. So, looking towards the future, you've got Category 7, of course, and Kerry King's band both show that you are not slowing down. Do you think you're entering a new creative prime, or are you just having the most fun you've ever had?
I've, you know, I've done so much and I have this bad habit of not saying no. It's just like, yeah, I'll do that. I got time on the calendar. Yeah, I'll do that. I can do that. I did these two rock and roll fantasy camps with Alice Cooper and Rob Halford,
Oh,
and you're
the
there
metal
with
god himself,
uh,
Halford.
Dax from Cheap Trick is there, Bumblefoot's there, Lita Ford is there, Vinny Appice. I jammed with Vinny Appice. He was in my little jam band. We did Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules and Stand Up and Shout with Vinny Appice. Vinny Appice, ah! And all these incredible musicians. But Category 7 is we're going out and doing these John Bush Anthrax era shows next week, and so we're like John's backing band for these Anthrax songs that he did 10 years in Anthrax, 4 records with them, and they don't play those songs anymore. So people have been wanting to hear these songs. We'll do 6 Category 7 songs, and then we'll do all the John Bush stuff.
Nice.
Kerry's probably we'll probably be recording early next year sometime, and so that record will come out next year. He likes the tour, he likes to be out. So I've got a solo record that I'm going to do eventually.
Nice.
I've got a bunch of material together, and I just want to jam with my friends and
Will you
record
have
with my bros.
guest vocals, or are you going to take up
Yeah.
vocals yourself?
I'll probably sing some on it. I sing some with this cover band. I've been doing some singing with a lot of the cover stuff that I've been doing too. So it's I think that I'm going to try my hand at it and see how it goes. I sang in Torque. It wasn't amazing, but I think I've come, made some strides in my vocals. So it's my music. I do whatever the fuck I want.
Any guests that you've got in mind that you wish to join?
I'm going to do some, probably have Dave McClain play some drums on it. I've got my drummer he was in Vio-lence and Torque and Technocracy with me. His name's Mark Hernandez. He's played in, he's been in Forbidden. He's been in Heathen. He's, amazing, drummer, probably that. And I don't want to get into too much, yeah, I have ideas of who I want to jam with. I've written some songs. I wrote a song with Eric Bass from Shinedown.
Nice.
We wrote a song it's got to be maybe 4 or 5 years now. It's just sitting, we're just creating music and and just playing with my friends, man.
How about Steve from Exodus?
Yeah, Zet's gonna jam with the Merkins coming up too, and he's local. Yeah, he's one of my oldest friends. He played his first time in a band was with me and his brother. He sang.
I saw his episode of his podcast as well.
Oh yeah. He's a fucking character, man.
I love Steve. He's brilliant. I love his little I think he's got a AC/DC tribute band.
Yep.
I keep saying we would love to try and see that. It's one day at Bloodstock. I thought it'd be.
Guitar player is amazing. nails the Angus stuff.
Sick, absolutely sick.
All right, man.
If you could, before we do end though, if you could hand one lesson to a younger guitarist trying to make it in 2025, what would it be? And that you wish someone had told you.
I don't know, man. I've been really fortunate in I think that one thing, it might be innate with me, but getting to know people and networking and being social and just be a cool human, you know, be real, but get out and meet people. And, you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not one of the top 1,000 fucking best metal guitar players on the planet, but there's a reason why people want me to come in and step into that spot. So I think it's, honesty, the communication, and just being a good human, man.
Very well said, mate. And before, what final one? Anything that you wish to plug before we do end our chat?
Category 7, doing these John Bush shows in LA, Chicago, and New York on the 13th, the 18th, and the 20th of December. Kerry doing a record next year sometime, so nothing really to report on the Kerry King front. I think that's about it. If you're ever in Northern California, come by the Back Lounge Bar in Dublin, California.
Nice, excellent.
There you go.
And I'll put
Thanks for having me, man.
Not a problem. I'll put a link to your YouTube in the description as well.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
No worries.
It's probably just gone noon for you, I believe, but enjoy the rest of your Saturday and take care of yourself.
We got it. Hey, Sam Kelly. Thank you for
definitely
having me.
big shout to Sam from Bitter Edge. That man is an absolute legend
Love Sam.
of a man. Definitely
All right,
couldn't agree more. Take care of yourself, Phil. Watch what you're doing, and we'll see you down the road.
Great chat.
And yourself, mate. Take care, man.
Bye.